All right, guys, so we just learned that you could graph slope-intercept form equations without doing any math. All you have to do is identify the b value, which is the y-intercept, and you go to that y-intercept value, you put a dot right there, and then you rise and run according to that dot. If your slope is positive, it's rising up. If the slope is negative, you're actually going down, but you're always going to run to the right. You're always going to run in a positive direction. So on number 1 right here, we just saw that it crossed that -3 on the y-axis, not the x-axis, but on the y-axis, -3, and you go up 2 over 1. So you go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Your line's drawn without doing any math. So down here, continuing where we left off, not only can we easily graph, but we can also look at graphs and write the equations. As long as you have them, as long as you have the m and the b, you can write an equation in slope-intercept form. So check this out. Example, write the equation of the line that crosses the y-axis. What does that mean? That crosses the y-axis. That means that's your y-intercept value, which means that that's your b value. So they're telling you that your b value is really -1. So b equals -1. And they're telling you that your slope, which is the m value, is -2/5. So your slope is -2/5. So if you want to write something in y equals mx plus b, then you would simply plug in your y value. Y equals -2/5. You put the x on there, and then plus b, which in this case is a -1. And that's your equation in slope-intercept form. So not only are we going to use this form to graph equations without doing any math, but we're also going to be able to get the description of a line telling you where it crosses your y-axis and what your slope is, and you'll be able to actually write the exact equation of that line knowing your slope and your y-intercept. Okay? Not only when they write it out as a sentence, but also if they give it to you as a graph. Like, before, we would just look at this line and be like, okay, I could tell you the slope, but now you could actually give me the exact equation that graphs this line. Because in order to write an equation, what are the two things that you need? Well, you need an m value, which is the rise over run, and you also need a b value, which is the y-intercept. So could anybody look at this line and tell me the slope? 2 over 1, right? Because you go up 2, you don't go down from left to right, you're going up from left to right. So that is +2 over 1, because you're running 1. From this x value to this x value, it's 1 unit. So it's 2 over 1. So that's your m value. That's how steep your line is. Now the b value, what's your b value?
2.
The b value is 2. Why is that? Because it crosses the y-axis not at 3, not at 5. It crosses right here at 2. So now that you know the m and the b, you could write your y equals mx plus b equation. So on this one, y equals, you could put just 2x and then plus 2 if you want, or you could put that 2 over 1. Either answer is perfectly fine. Multiple choice tests sometimes don't write 2 over 1, they just write 2x. But open response, I like the 2 over 1 because it visually shows that you rise 2 and run 1. So let's look at this next one. Hopefully you guys are all following along. All we need are 2 things. So Albria, what would the m be on this guy? And or how about this? What's the b? The b is the easiest. What's the b value? -2, that's right. So the b value is simply where it crosses the y. It doesn't cross at 0, it doesn't cross at 1. It crosses right here, and that's the -2 value on the y-axis. So the b value is -2. So we know that it crosses the y-axis at -2. Now, let's look at the slope. Now, you could use any 2 points. They kind of are pushing you to use this point right here and that point right there. And they're telling you, oh, from here to here, it rises 2 units. They show it right there. And it runs 4 units. So you could use the points that they tell you, 2 over 4. But then you have to reduce the fraction. So your slope is really what? 1 over 2. Now, you didn't have to use those points. You could use this one right here and then go to your next clean point. Like, this is not a clean point, but this one is right there. It's at a nice clean coordinate. So you could have put the dot right there and then said, oh, how much do I rise from here to here? Oh, you rise 1. How much do you run? You run 2. So you'd have that same slope anyway. Rise 1, run 2. So now that you know that your m value is 1/2 and your b value is -2, now you could write the equation of that line, which is y equals 1/2 x minus 2. And that's your equation, y equals 1/2 x minus 2. How about this guy down here? What is our m value right there? What do you say, Sergio? What's the m value?
M is -1.
Okay.
It's 2 over 1.
M is rise over run.
Yeah.
So yes, I picked these 2 points. You could pick any ones you want. You go up 2 over 1.
Yeah, I meant B.
2 over 1. Okay, so what's the b value, Sergio? The b value is -1. Now remember, your b value is
2. No, okay,
2. -2? +1. -1? 2. 2. Okay. Right here. So remember, the b value is the y. Here's the y-axis. And where it doesn't cross here at -3, not at -1. It crosses right here at +2. So the b value is +2. So what's our equation going to be? It's going to be y equals mx plus b, 2 over 1 x plus 2. Or you could have just said y equals 2x plus 2. Let's go to this last one right here. This one's interesting because you can't clearly see the y value, but I mean you could conclude that it's there. So what's our m value?
-4. Wait, no, never mind.
From here.
4, 1.
Okay, so let's compare this point and this point. I'm going down how many? 3. So that's -3. That's a -3 rise. And the run, if you went down 3, you go over 1. So yeah, it's going to be a run of 1.
B -3.
And the b value is -3, right? Because you're here at 0, -1, -2. It looks like it's going to cross right here at -3. So our b value is -3. So now that we know our m and our b, we could write our equation y equals mx plus b, -3x minus 3. Of course, you could put that rise over run if you wanted to, put it over a 1. But on multiple choice, they probably won't put it over 1. They'll just leave it as y equals -3x minus 3. Okie doke. So all we need to do now is practice. Let's turn the page. So we have tons of equations back here. This is our homework assignment. We are to graph them. And the beginning questions are in y equals mx plus b, so it's super easy. All you have to do is first identify the b value. Always identify the b value first, because that's where you know it's going to cross. Where's it going to cross? 3. So you put a dot right at 3. See, the thing is this. You don't know if it's going to, actually let me do this. Let me put a line right through it. You don't know if it's going to cross like that, or you don't know if it's going to cross like that, or maybe really steep like that, or maybe super steep going down. You don't really know the steepness of the line, but you know it's going to cross at the y value of 3, at the b value of 3. So we do know that the steepness is what?
-1 over 2.
-1/2. So from this point, do I go up or do I go down? Down, because it's negative. So I go down how many? 1, and I run how many? 2. You always run to the right. So run 2 to the right and put a dot right there. So let me delete that line and actually show that we're going to go down 1 over 2 and put a dot right there. And then just draw our line right through those 2 dots. So you guys should handle this pretty easily. There's some where you're going to have to actually move things around. Like number 5, it's not in slope-intercept form, so you're going to have to divide everything by 2. And now it will be in slope-intercept form. Y equals 3 over 2 x minus 1. And I put the slope in blue and the y-intercept in red, so it'll be really easy to graph. So it crosses the y-axis at -1. Then from that point, you're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2. Connect your dots, and you'll be good. So make sure it's in slope-intercept form first, and then you could actually find the slope and the y-intercept. Now let's take a look at number 9. Number 9 is pretty interesting. When I ask you what's the slope, what do you guys say? What is the slope? 2 over 1, perfect. What's the b value? The b value is 0. There is no b value. So where do I start graphing y equals mx plus b lines? You start graphing with the b value. What's the b value on number 9? 0. So it crosses right here through the origin. Put a dot right there at the origin. And how much do you rise and how much do you run? You rise 2, you run 1. So you put a dot right there. Connect the dots. You are done. Now if you wanted to use the pattern of up 2 over 1 backwards, go down 2 over 1 this way, down 2 over 1 this way, to get to that point. Put some arrows on it, you're done. How about number 13? That's a special one right there, because it's technically not in slope-intercept form. You can't get y by itself. It's not in y equals mx plus b. In order for you to identify the slope and the y-intercept, you need to have it in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. But right here, all it says is your x values have to be 2. You guys remember what that looks like? We already did this last week. What does that look like? Is it a flat line or a vertical line? If you guys totally forget this on the test, please go back, resort to an XY table. And this is saying that your x values have to be 2. Right? X has to equal 2. 2 on the x, 2 on the x, 2 on the x. What about the other ones? Anything you want. 0, -3, +2, whatever you want. So when I go to 2, 0, 2 on the x, 0 on the y, there it is. When I go to 2, -3, it's down here. When I go to 2, +2, it's up here. This is obviously a vertical line. Any x equals a number equation is a vertical line going up and down. Any y equals will be a horizontal. Like number 14, this one says y equals -3. That's going to cross the y-axis flat right at -3. So I want to end this video here. You guys should work on the rest of these for homework. There will be a video with the solutions posted.